Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a fascinating shortcut, not through a country or an event, but through the architecture of language learning itself.
That's right.
Our mission is to understand why the very first, most foundational step in mastering English, the A1 level, is anchored in what seems like, well, the most boring topic you can imagine.
And that is the strategic brilliance we found in the source material. We're talking about your schedule.
Your daily routine.
Exactly. The most powerful, complex, foundational language learning actually starts with describing the simple, repetitive things you do every single day.
So for this, we dove into sources that guide A1 English learners, and that's the beginner stage of the CEFR framework for anyone who's not familiar.
Right.
This deep dive is really a strategic analysis of why this curriculum works. It's a shortcut to understanding the core skills you need right away.
And the central insight here, the real aha moment, is that by focusing on these simple, predictable, everyday actions, the English you learn becomes, immediately personal,
It's practical.
intensely practical, and crucially, it's just much easier for your brain to file away and remember. You're not just memorizing words, you're attaching language to habits you already have.
Okay, before we get into the mechanics, let's set the stage a bit. What does A1 actually mean? Because it definitely doesn't mean fluency.
No, not at all. It means you can understand and use very basic everyday expressions.
Simple things.
Very simple. At A1, you should be able to introduce yourself, ask and answer some simple questions, and talk about familiar topics like your routine.
And the expectation is slow speech, short sentences.
Absolutely. If you are speaking slowly, using short, simple sentences, and maybe repeating yourself, you are doing it exactly right. That slow, clear speech is the standard.
Okay, so let's unpack this strategic choice. Why are daily routines, out of everything you could possibly talk about, the absolute perfect entry point?
It's because the routine is like a perfect vehicle for integrating skills. The source material argues it's the only A1 topic that lets you simultaneously develop four core skills without, totally overwhelming the learner.
Wait, okay, that sounds a little counterintuitive. If the goal is simplicity, why force an A1 learner to manage four skills at once?
It seems that way, but it works because the content is so simple. The four skills are perfectly aligned. Number one, routines practice the simple present tense. That's the core grammar of anything you do regularly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Number two, it uses only the most common high-frequency verbs, the words you need every day.
So high frequency, simple grammar. Very efficient.
And number three, this is where the strategy really shines. It gives learners immediate confidence because they're practicing by speaking about themselves. They already know the topic perfectly.
Which lowers the anxiety.
Right. And four, it prepares them for real-life conversations. If you can say, I eat lunch at noon, you can understand when someone says, I eat lunch at 1, and just like that, you're in a conversation.
So the focus isn't on impressing anyone with complex sentences. It's about achieving clarity, pure functionality with these short, direct statements. It's like practical scaffolding you build from your own life.
Precision over poetry, 100%. And once you master the mechanics of your own routine, you unlock the ability to talk about anyone's routine with the exact same grammar toolkit.
And that realization that the routine is the why brings us right to the how, the essential grammar toolkit, which is the simple present tense.
It's the foundational layer. And thankfully, for most subjects, I, you, we, and they, the structure is just beautiful in its simplicity. It's just the subject plus the base verb.
We're talking maximum simplicity. I wake up at 6, you eat breakfast, we go to work. No extra words, no complicated conjugations.
And that simplicity is what makes the next rule so critical, because it's also the single biggest hurdle for beginners.
Right, here it is. The one mechanical feature that, once you master it, instantly makes you sound more accurate. The rule for the third person singular, he, she, or it.
It is non-negotiable in English. When the subject is a singular third person, we have to add an S or an ES to the verb. That tiny little sound, that S, is the perfect grammatical gatekeeper for A1.
Yeah, if you can remember it, you're showing you have foundational control.
Exactly.
So let's just run through the contrast. The error is saying he wake up at 6. The correct form is he wakes up at 6.
Right. Or not she eats breakfast, but she eats breakfast. And if the verb is go, you add the "-ese. He goes to work.
And the source material really stresses this.
It says this rule must be drilled until it's automatic. I mean, if you miss that "-ese, people will still understand you, but that tiny error immediately flags you as still struggling with the basics.
So mastering this builds the confidence you need for A2 much faster than worrying about any other more difficult tense.
Much faster.
So we have the structure, now we need the building blocks, the vocabulary. And the source emphasizes that the A1 core verb list is deliberately small, a small but powerful group.
The philosophy here is all about frequency and universality. The sources aim for maximum utility with minimum memorization. They want verbs that define, modern life from morning to night.
What's interesting is what they exclude as much as what they include. The
Yeah.
list is wake up, get up, brush, wash, eat, drink, go, work, study, start, finish, rest, watch, listen, and sleep.
Right.
So why did the source deliberately exclude verbs that tons of people use, like, say, commute or meditate?
Well, because commute might be regional or specific to city life. Meditate is more of a hobby, not a universal daily need. These 15 verbs were chosen because almost everyone, everywhere, does these things.
They're the foundation for survival and interaction.
The functional baseline, and you rarely use them alone. They combine perfectly with simple nouns.
Right, so you immediately connect the verb to the object. You brush my teeth, you wash my face, you eat breakfast.
It's about learning phrases, not just single words.
But a routine isn't just a list of actions. It needs sequencing. We need to know when. So what are the key time expressions for an A1 learner?
They need the simple chunks of the day. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night. Then frequency words. Every day, on weekdays, on weekends. And of course, simple clock times. At 6 o'clock, at 7:30.
Okay, so we have the grammar, the verbs, the time expressions. Let's move from theory to application mapping the day. The sources give a really clear 4-part structure for practice.
And this section is all about rhythm. The source suggests practicing by linking these simple sentences together to create a smooth, coherent story of your day.
Let's start with segment 1, the morning routine. The model is all about short, clear sentences. For instance, I wake up at 6 o'clock, I get out of bed, I brush my teeth, I take a shower, I get dressed, I eat breakfast, I leave the house.
And notice how short and direct they are. The listener doesn't need to know why you take a shower. They just need to know that you do it. The simplicity just carries right into the work or school routine.
Right. No long explanations needed. I go to work, I start work at 9, I eat lunch at noon, I finish work at 5. The structure is identical, which makes it really easy to replicate.
If a learner can say those things with confidence, they've pretty much hit the A1 goal for that time of day. Then we move into the social and relaxation parts. Evening and night.
So the evening routine covers life outside of work. I go home, I eat dinner, I watch TV, I talk with my family, I relax. And finally, the night routine. I read a book, I go to bed at 10, I sleep.
And when you string all those simple, precise parts together, you get the model paragraph, the ultimate goal for A1 speaking or writing practice.
Okay, listen to this full paragraph. The ability to say this with confidence and clear pronunciation is really the marker of mastering this core skill. I wake up at 6 o'clock, I brush my teeth and wash my face, I eat breakfast and drink tea, I go to work at 8, I finish work at 5, I go home and eat dinner, I watch TV in the evening, I go to bed at 10.
That structure is the perfect synthesis of everything we just talked about, the grammar, the vocabulary, the time expressions. Now, knowing the path is one thing, but knowing where the roadblocks are is just as important.
Good point. Let's talk about the top 3 common mistakes A1 learners make. We already covered the biggest one, but it is so important it's worth repeating.
The number one mistake, by far, is forgetting the S with Heisha, saying she wake up at 6 instead of the correct she wakes up at 6. This one rule is the immediate sign of someone who's memorizing words versus someone who's mastering the system.
Okay, what's mistake number 2? This one happens when learners get confused about the purpose of the simple present.
It's using the wrong tense, specifically mixing up the simple present and the present continuous. So they'll incorrectly say something like, I am wake up at 6.
Ah, adding the to be verb.
Yes. The source really emphasizes that you're talking about a regular habit, not something happening this second. The simple present is direct. I wake up at 6.
And the third mistake is less about grammar and more about the practice itself.
That's speaking too fast. A1 learners are encouraged to speak slowly and clearly. Speed just creates errors. You forget that crucial A's, you trip over pronunciation.
Slow, deliberate speech builds accuracy and confidence faster.
Much faster than just rushing through it.
So we have the map, we know the pitfalls. Our source also gave 4 specific, actionable ways to practice this routine for quick progress. What are they?
Number 1, speak slowly. It reinforces clear pronunciation, it reduces anxiety, and it makes sure those grammar rules actually stick.
Okay. Number 2 is use repetition. Why repetition instead of, trying to come up with new sentences all the time?
Because the goal here is muscle memory, not novelty. You repeat the same core sentences until they become completely automatic. This frees up your brain to focus on new things instead of struggling to remember the basics.
Number 3, links listening and speaking. Practice with listening.
That's right. You listen to simple, slow English recordings of routines, and then you immediately repeat them out loud. It connects the sounds you hear with your own voice.
And finally, the last method, which ties right back to our mission statement.
Use real life. Talk about what you really do every day. If your actual routine includes, I walk the dog at 8, or I water my plants in the morning, that personalization just makes the learning stick because it's relevant to your life.
So if we pull back and look at this whole learning strategy, what's the single most powerful takeaway about A1 progress?
The source material is very clear on this.
Mhm.
Progress for an A1 learner isn't about tackling difficult grammar or learning thousands of words. It comes from the efficiency of using clear, simple English every single day.
Mastery of this one routine gives you the momentum to jump to the next level.
It really does.
And since the goal is to use real life activities, you will inevitably run into things you do that aren't on that list of 15 core verbs. And that is the signal that you're ready to advance.
That is the next natural step. And I'd encourage you to use this as a launch pad. Think about it. Identify 3 things you do regularly that are unique to you. Maybe you fix motorcycles, or practice the cello, or, I don't know, research ancient history.
Things that are not on that core verb list.
Exactly. And then what do you do with those?
You plan how you would ask someone else about those 3 specific, unique activities.
And you teach yourself the new vocabulary and the question structure you need. That self-directed learning, built on the solid foundation of your daily routine, is what pushes you gently but firmly toward A2. Start using your unique life to demand the next layer of English you need to learn.